Welcome to Better Life, Better Business with local business coach and time management expert Christoph Nauer of Balance Six. I'm your host, Rebecca Troxel, founder and CEO of Rebecca's Vault. Today, we're talking about how long term thinking improves short term decision making. It's really fascinating to me when my brain takes me away and I start trying to connect these dots. But what exactly does this mean, Christoph?
Well, all successful people think long term when planning their goals
Hmm,
and deciding on daily tasks. That's how they manage time successfully. They
hmm,
avoid time wasters, they stop doing low level, time consuming activities and really maximize their results. So
okay,
let's start with a question.
sure.
When you hear the term superior thinker, what comes to mind?
Well, naturally, the first thing I think of is someone who's much smarter than I am.
Ah, come on, Rebecca. That's negative self talk. You are a wonderful and very smart woman. But
Thank you.
so I would say it's the ability to accurately predict the consequences of doing or not doing a task.
Hmm.
That
Okay.
I think falls into the category of making a superior thinker. Before taking action, we need to know how important the task is. Should we do it or not? Does it fall into the 20% vital or the 80% trivial?
Hmm.
As you may remember, we talked about that in a previous podcast.
Yes.
So, a superior thinker carefully evaluates the potential consequence of a task before working on it.
Hmm.
Is it beneficial for my company? Is it beneficial in personal life? Or is it not? As my
That-
mentor, Brian Tracy, says, this is how you find out what your next frog really is. This theory is actually supported by Dr. Edward Banfield of Harvard University. After 50 years of research, he concluded that the long time perspective is the most important and accurate way to predict who in
Hmm.
the US is moving up socially and economically.
Okay. So when a small business owner is being constantly reactive and are flying by the seat of their pants, they aren't really focusing on the most important aspect of real success. Am I getting that right?
Yes, absolutely. I think you want to be proactive, not reactive.
True.
That is absolutely critical. And so that's what he's really saying. And so what what we can conclude from that is really, at least that's how I interpret it, is that this is long-term perspective is more important than a whole lot of things. Family background, education, race, intelligence, connections, and the list goes on. So according to this study, nothing's more important in determining success in business and personal life.
Really? I think our viewers need a moment to let that sink in. It's kind of mind-blowing how important this is, especially since this is something anyone could do.
That's true. My attitude to a time, for instance, my time horizon has the biggest impact on my choices and behavior.
Hmm. True.
In order for me to be more successful in life and business, I have to adopt a long term view. If I do this, I guarantee you will make better decisions about time and your activities on the ones that you focus on than those who don't do that.
Hmm.
So, like others, and maybe and you included, I had to reread this several times while preparing for this podcast.
Yeah.
But the thing is, successful people have a clear focus on the future, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. They
Right.
always ask, is what I'm doing today consistent with the future I desire?
Hmm.
This means that something that we consider important must have long term potential positive consequences.
Interesting.
If a task does not have any long term positive consequences, why should I do it? It's unimportant. So I should not take up my time. Again, going back to what I said earlier, this means that before starting a task, we need to know what the potential consequence of doing or not doing this particular task is.
Absolutely.
There's another rule. Future intent influences and often determines present action.
Hmm. Interesting, because in one of our previous podcasts, we discussed the importance of clarity. I'm seeing that today's topic reaffirms this. The more clarity we have on our future intentions, the clearer our long term vision is. And then it becomes easier for us to evaluate our daily actions and focus all of our efforts on the ones that are most important. Seems like this is something everyone should be able to easily get on board with, doesn't it?
I think so. Um, what I'm going to say next might be upsetting to some. However, consider everything that we've discussed so far. It seems to
Okay.
be a logical conclusion. Successful people are willing to make sacrifices. Again, just like discipline, it's not a very popular term.
Yeah.
Uh, really what it means is to go without certain things so
Hmm.
that they can enjoy far greater rewards in the long term. This may not be easy, especially since we live in an instant gratification society,
Yep.
but everyone who's made sacrifice for a greater good can appreciate that. We could just look back at our own lives and um, we'll find stories in that. For instance, any parent, you make sacrifices for your kids.
Hmm.
When you look at your grown kids afterwards, you realize, hey, this was worth it.
Yeah.
And as a parent with grown kids, I can say that. Dennis Waitley, a motivational speaker, says, listen to this.
Okay.
Losers try to escape from their fears and drudgery with activities that are tension relieving. Winners are motivated by their desires toward activities that are goal achieving.
Interesting, but can you tell us what exactly he meant by all that?
Well, I mean, I would have to guess, but because I never met him, but I would say, uh, give you a couple examples. So, for instance, show up a little earlier than the actual meeting. If a
Okay,
meeting starts at 7, at 6:59, you're really late.
fair
Uh,
enough.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's and maybe this is my Swiss background. I don't know because in Switzerland, if you show up, a few seconds late, you just see the end of a train pulling out of a train station. um, look for the good in everything and everyone.
Okay.
See opportunity in every setback, and
Hmm.
never give up. Read regularly something in your field. Take courses. Improve your skills. By the way, self-improvement is one of the 6 in my business name, Balance 6, right?
I did know that. Yes.
Absolutely, you would. Always focus on high-value tasks and refuse to work on other tasks until these are done.
Hmm. Okay.
And don't show up last minute or late.
Hmm.
Read the newspaper, drink coffee, socialize with coworkers, make excuses or blame people or circumstances for whatever is not working.
Okay.
Some of this may seem more fun and enjoyable in the short term, but ultimately it leads to frustration and underachievement,
Yeah.
disappointment, lack of motivation, and the list goes on.
Well, it sounds like you're saying that what we really need to do is just focus on activities or tasks that have the great possibility for a positive outcome and make those the top priority until they're completed. That will ensure long term success. Easy enough.
Yeah, the way you put it, it sounds easy enough.
It does. It seems very easy, but I'm sure it's not.
Well, it's doable, and whatever is worth doing is worth getting support for. And so,
Very
if you
true.
can't do it yourself, reach out to somebody to hold you accountable and hold your hands and guide you. But once we develop that long-term focus, the clarity on the future we desire and why we desire it, motivation follows.
Okay.
And as we know, it's motivation, it requires motivation as a motive. Once we're clear about the motive and the positive consequences of our action in light of our desired future, we then develop the motivation needed to keep our attention and focus on continually starting and completing those tasks that can make a major difference in our company and in our life in the future.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see from this, continue to think about the potential consequences of our decisions and our actions and behaviors really determines our true priorities in business and in our personal life.
This seems like it's a really simple idea to live by in general. The principle that future objectives and intentions will influence and help us determine our present actions. You could use that in life as well as business.
You're absolutely correct. Yes. We need to focus on activities with large potential and positive outcomes.
Yeah.
Make them a top priority and work on them till they're done. Well, let's face it, no matter what we do, time is going to pass anyway.
Yeah, very
It
true.
is up to us to decide how to use it. And how we use it will determine where we will end up further down the road. The famous writer and author Goethe said, "The things that matter most must never be at the mercy of the things that matter least." Wise words.
Those are powerful words, very powerful words if you think about it. It's a philosophy that, like I said, we can use in everyday life, not just in our businesses. So on that note, thank you to all of our viewers for joining Christoph and I for another thought-provoking episode. If all of this seems overwhelming and you or someone you know would like some help effectively implementing this wonderful advice, make sure you take advantage of the offer Christoph provides his audience, a complimentary business breakthrough session. During this session, you will learn how he can help you double your productivity, profits, and time off. All you have to do is go to balance6.biz to sign up for a time that works for you. I'm so glad you all joined us this week. Until next time, make sure you focus on your long-term aspirations and having a better life and better business. See you next week.
This week's episode of Better Life, Better Business is brought to you by CA&C Video Productions. Since 1985, CA&C Video has been providing live streaming, event production, and analog to digital transfer services. They captured those life-changing moments, preserving your history for current and future generations. Because your history matters. Visit their website at cacvideo.com. Thank you so much for your sponsorship.
That's all for now. Thanks for listening to another episode of Better Life, Better Business with business and time management coach Christoph Nauer with Balance 6, the leading business and time management company in Northern California. Visit them at balance6.biz.